President said his proposal is the following: systemic and sustained air campaign, support and train our partners on the ground, that would be the moderate Syrians, the Iraqi army, and others, stop the spread of ISIS by keeping a handle on the borders of what he considers to be its state, make sure there's regional support for an inclusive Iraqi government. And though there are signs that they are working towards such a thing, this inclusive Iraqi government is a huge sticking point, and it has been thus far elusive. Case in point, we support the Kurds in the north. They are fighting very well, to hear from our military leaders, to hear from our politicians. They are our friends. And we want to be able to give them the help that they need, but you have to go through the Iraqi government, because Iraq is one thing. And the Iraqi government, which is of a different sect, is not allowing that process to happen quickly enough. And the Kurds are extremely frustrated in the north. That by way of just one example. And then the fifth part, he said, was humanitarian aid, because there is an enormous humanitarian crisis which we are woefully undercovering. And that has to do with refugee crises and the spread of diseases and hunger and malnutrition and lack of housing. It goes on and on. Everything that goes on with a war like this. He says those are the 5 points of the proposal. He said there will be no ground forces authorized by this use of force proposal. But the fact is, and he didn't mention this, but they wouldn't be prohibited either. And Judge Andrew Napolitano, for some, that's a sticking point.
Well, it's a strong sticking point. Remember, under the Constitution and under the law, once the Congress authorizes the use of military force, it cannot tell the president how to use that military force. So whatever resolution they adopt, unless there's an express statement in there, you may not use ground troops, and they're not going to put that in there.
No.
The president has the discretion to use ground troops on his own. Look, we know that compromise and negotiation is already going on. How do we know that? Because the resolution the White House submitted last night did not repeal the authorization to use military force of 2002.
In Iraq.
Correct. The resolution of which the president spoke 10 minutes ago, according to the president's own words, does repeal it. So the negotiations with fearful Democrats and hawkish Republicans is actually going on as we speak. The president needs consensus, and Congress needs to know, no matter what promises the president makes, once you authorize the use of military force, it's all in the president's hands. It's all his judgment. He can unleash and he can restrain as he sees fit.
A lot to digest here, and politicians with whom we must all speak. Judge Napolitano, Ed Henry, thank you both.